You just got paid. You open your banking app, see the balance, and for a second, you feel relieved. Then your brain immediately starts doing what it always does. Rent, car payment, the credit card you promised yourself you'd stop using, the money you set aside for fun, that's already been mentally spent before it even hit your account. By the time you've added everything up, whatever's left doesn't feel like progress. It feels like proof that financial freedom is something that happens to other people. Think of a number as we go through this video. Let's say it's $340. That's what's left after this paycheck. You've been working for 2 years, saving when you can, trying to follow all the personal finance advice you've heard online. And somehow, $340 still feels like nothing. Keep that number in mind, because by the end of this video, it's going to mean something completely different. There's a reason financial freedom feels so far away. And it isn't because you suck at handling money. It's because of something behavioral economists call temporal discounting. In 1999, researchers Shane Frederick, George Lowenstein, and Ted O'Donohue published a landmark review in the Journal of Economic Literature. They showed that people consistently place less value on rewards that are further in the future. And the farther away those rewards are, the more distorted our sense of their size becomes. In plain English, your brain wasn't built to think 10 years ahead. It was built to think about today. So when you imagine being financially free, your mind doesn't picture a clear destination with a realistic timeline. It pictures a hazy outline. And anything hidden in fog always feels farther away than it really is. Think about the last time you imagined being completely debt-free, or having enough invested that you no longer worried about money. The picture probably wasn't very clear. It was vague, blurry, hard to hold on to. That's not because you lack imagination. It's because that's how your brain naturally handles distant, uncertain outcomes. The farther away a reward is, the less detail your mind gives it. Less detail makes it feel less real. And when something feels less real, it also feels less achievable. That's why having $340 left over doesn't feel like progress. Your brain isn't comparing it to where you started. It's comparing it to a finish line it can't even see clearly. So even if that $340 became $680 next month, it still wouldn't feel like enough. Because the problem was never the number. It was the fog surrounding the goal you were measuring it against. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Compounding doesn't feel like it's working until one day it suddenly does. Imagine two people. One starts saving $200 a month today. The other waits 3 years, then saves $400 a month to catch up. Assuming an average annual return of 7%, the person who started earlier ends up with more money after 20 years, even though they invested half as much each month. And that's the point. Not the exact numbers. The point is that the money you're saving today is already doing work you can't see. Compounding doesn't give you a dopamine hit. It doesn't make you feel richer overnight. It just keeps working quietly in the background, while your brain keeps asking, so where's the payoff? That's why so many people quit saving before it ever starts to feel worthwhile. For the first few years, sticking with the plan and giving up can look almost identical. The balance grows slowly, and there's very little visible proof that anything is happening. The payoff usually shows up years later, long after many people have already convinced themselves the sacrifice wasn't worth it. It's like quitting the gym after 3 weeks because the mirror hasn't changed yet, even though your body has already started adapting beneath the surface. Now think about that $340 again. Put it into an investment earning average market returns, leave it alone for 15 years, and it isn't $340 anymore. It's closer to $1,000. Do that month after month, even if you're not perfectly consistent, and those quiet gains begin stacking on top of each other. You won't feel it happening, but it happens anyway. Even if you could feel your own progress, there's another force working against you, and it isn't really about money. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger introduced social comparison theory. His idea was simple. People don't judge themselves against an objective standard. They judge themselves against the people around them. Money works the same way. What feels like enough changes the moment someone else seems to have more. That's why having $340 left over can feel embarrassing after scrolling past someone's brand new car, and feel like a huge win after talking to a friend who's still living paycheck to paycheck. The number never changed. Only the comparison did. Social media has made this far worse than Festinger could have imagined. Back then, you compared yourself with neighbors, coworkers, or friends. Today, you're comparing yourself with thousands of carefully edited highlight reels. You're not comparing your real financial life to someone else's real financial life. You're comparing your reality to the version they chose to post. That's why financial freedom keeps feeling just out of reach. It's not a fixed destination waiting for you. Every time your feed refreshes, the finish line quietly moves. If your definition of enough depends on other people, you'll keep chasing a target that never stays still. So, if the horizon is blurry, if progress feels invisible, and comparison keeps moving the goalposts, how do you actually make progress that feels real? In 2006, researchers Ron Kivitz, Oleg Erminsky, and Yuhuang Zhang published a study on what's known as the goal gradient effect. They found that people naturally become more motivated when they believe they're getting close to a goal. The important word is believe. In one experiment, customers with coffee loyalty cards bought coffee more often when they felt they were close to earning a free drink. Nothing about the reward changed, only the way their progress was presented. That small shift changed their behavior. The same principle applies to your finances. The answer isn't working harder, it's changing what you're measuring. Instead of measuring the distance to this huge, vague idea called financial freedom, measure the distance to the next milestone, the next $1,000, the next month of expenses fully covered, the next credit card paid off. When you do that, the goal gradient effect starts working in your favor. Progress feels closer because you've made it visible, not by moving the finish line, but by moving the measuring stick. Instead of trying to picture a goal that's 10 years away, your brain only has to focus on the next step. And that's something it actually knows how to do. Let's go back to that $340. It isn't proof that you're failing. And it isn't nothing. It's 15 years of compounding that you simply can't see yet. It's a number your brain keeps comparing to a finish line that's hidden in fog, instead of comparing it to where you actually started. And it's one step further than you were last month. Financial freedom was never supposed to feel close. Your brain wasn't built for that. The horizon was always going to look farther away than it really was. The progress was always going to stay invisible longer than felt fair. And comparison was always going to tempt you into believing you were behind. But the next milestone? That can feel real. Measure the next 1,000 instead of the whole mountain. And suddenly, that $340 stops looking like proof you're behind. It becomes proof you're already moving. And that's the mindset that gets you where you're trying to go.